With a song in my heart, the story of men and their music, of composers who really had a song in their hearts. Marie. What happy memories that song recalls. Memories of the 20s, when the stage reigned supreme, when theatrical producers vied with each other in presenting the most lavish, the best in musical comedy. Such a show was Rose Marie, a worldwide success. With lyrics by a young up-and-coming writer named Oscar Hammerstein II and music from one of the ace writers of the day, Rudolph Friml. And what of this genius of modern composition? Where did he hail from? Well, it all seemed to start in the early part of this century in Vienna. At a concert hall, a young pianist was just completing a recital.
That young soloist, he is a fine pianist.
One of our most promising, Herr Kublik.
Tell him I would like to see him at my studio tomorrow morning.
As you wish, my friend.
And so it came about that young Rudolph Friml was ushered into the presence of the great Kubelik, one of the star violinists of all time.
You sent for me, Herr Kubelik?
That is so. I heard you play at the concert hall last night. You are a good pianist.
From you, Herr Kubelik. That is indeed high praise.
I give praise only where it is merited. I'll be brief. I leave Vienna shortly on a concert tour of England and America. Would you like to act as my accompanist?
You mean you want me to travel with you as your pianist? You, the great Kubelik?
Yes. What is your answer?
But yes, of course. Of course.
And so it was that young Hungarian Rudolph Friml came to the United States. He shared his modicum of success with the spotlighted virtuoso Kubelik and made many friends. America's leading librettist of the day, Otto Harbach, over a quiet drink with Friml, put a question to him that was eventually to change the whole course of his life.
Rudolph, I heard you play one of your own compositions at the Kubelik concert the other night. It was pretty good.
I'm glad you liked it, Otto.
But let me tell you something, Rudolph. That type of music will never make any money for you.
But why? You tell me it's a good composition?
Surely. But piano solos take 50 years to develop. Why don't you concentrate on musical comedy?
You mean operetta? Like my Balkan contemporary Franz Lehár?
Yes, and I'm certain you can do it.
And Otto Harbach's prediction was right. For shortly after that, Rudolph was to write the music for the successful musical Firefly. Remember his lovely waltz theme from that show? The success of Firefly was sensational. Overnight, Friml was hailed as another Victor Herbert. And right then and there, he gave up his work as a concert pianist. Chatting once again with his friend Otto Harbach, he stated,
Everybody's telling me what a great success I am, Otto.
And so you are too.
If that is so, I owe it all to you, for your help and encouragement in proving to me that operetta was my forte.
Thank you, Rudolph. But listen, you are only on the outskirts of your career. When you've written the music to some of my new productions, you'll really go places.
How true was Harbach's remark? For soon they were to collaborate on the musical comedy we knew as High Jinks, still regarded as one of the best ever. And the music, as fresh today as it was when originally conceived. A memory of it. High Jinks and Love's Own Kiss. After the success of High Jinks, melodies flowed in an unending stream from the imaginative brain of this great composer. Leading producers fought and outbid each other for the privilege of securing Friml as the composer of their productions. During rehearsals for a new show called Katinka, the producer was chatting in the darkened auditorium to Harbach and Friml.
Now, that's the setting I was talking of.
It looks very effective.
I thought you'd like it. Well, when Katinka makes her entrance in this spot, I'll have 2 white pigeons in that little loft. And I want a song to meet that situation. A love song. Something really from the heart.
And thus was born Rackety-Coo. As the years rolled on, the name of Friml became a hallmark as regards the quality of any musical comedy. He ranked with Lehar, Romberg, and Victor Herbert as the world's ace writers of operetta. Naturally enough, when the talkies came along, Hollywood wanted some of Friml's earlier shows. And as ever, Hollywood wasn't satisfied with the original, which didn't please Mr. Friml at all.
Mr. Meyer, you bring me down to Hollywood to supervise my music from The Firefly, a show that was a success the world over. Now you tell me your director wants me to write some more songs for it. That I will not do.
But, Rudolph, old boy, times change. What was good enough for the stage in 1914 is not good enough for the talkies in 1934. Jeanette MacDonald and Ellen Jones love your original score. But my director wants one more song for Ellen Jones to sing.
The outcome of it all was that a somewhat peeved Friml gave them another song. But it wasn't a new one. No, it was a little piano solo he'd written some 20 years before called Chansonnette. It went like this. Yes, you've probably guessed the rest. He didn't give Hollywood a new Friml composition. He gave them an old one. One that was to become one of the music industry's smash hits of all time. The Donkey Serenade.
There's a song in the air, but the fair senorita doesn't seem to care for the song in the air. So I'll sing to the mule if you're sure she won't think that I am just a fool serenading a mule. Amigo mio, does she not have a dainty bray? She listens carefully to each little tune you play. La bella signorita, si mi muchachita, she tried to sing it too if only she knew the way. But try as she may, in her voice there's a flaw, and all that a lady can say is he not so sweet as a mosquito, but so sweet as my chiquita, you're the one for me. Hey.
Naturally, a composer who'd written a bunch of musical comedies like
Firefly, Katinka, Hijinks,
Rosemarie, the Vagabond King, The Three Musketeers.
plus many lesser successes, just had to become a wealthy man. His yearly royalties must have reached astronomical heights.
Why, at one time, there were 30 different productions of Rosemarie running in some parts of the world at the one time.
Which all goes to show that Rudolph became a very wealthy man. But his love for music, even when resting from the arduous task of writing the score of a musical comedy, often caused him to compose something for the piano or an occasional ballad. Such a number is his beloved Toujours l'amour, Love Everlasting. Hungarian pianist who was to become the American composer, loved the good things of life. Like all bohemians, he was imaginative and an excellent raconteur. He particularly liked to relate an incident that happened to him when visiting Sydney.
Sydney, with its beautiful harbor. A lovely place. I visited there with my great friend, the late Robert Ripley of Believe It or Not fame. You see, Bob and I were the guests of honor at an exclusive Sydney club. When Bob was called on to make a speech, the orchestra greeted him as an American with the Star-Spangled Banner. When I was called on...
Well, what happened, Rudolph?
Well, they looked on me as a Hungarian. Apparently, no one knew the Hungarian national anthem.
Then what did they greet you with, Rudolph?
With... with Liszt's Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2.
That orchestral leader must have been hard put to it. But time is on the wing. And before we close the Friml story, we simply must have an excerpt from one of his finest shows, one we've thus far neglected. Yes, I refer to The Vagabond King. This is Friml at his very best, with one of his greatest successes. Vagabond King was based on Justin McCarthy's book, If I Were King, and the rollicking times of the French Revolution gave great scope for Friml to produce a most virile score.
There was the entrancing Only a Rose.
And, of course, the robust, soul-stirring Song of the Vagabonds.
Sons of toil and danger, will you serve a stranger and bow down to Burgundy? Sons of shame and sorrow, will you cheer tomorrow for the crown of Burgundy? Onward, onward, swords against the foe! Forward, forward, the lily banners go! Sons of France around us, break the chains that bound us, and to hell with Burgundy! Sons of toil and danger, will you serve a stranger and bow down to Burgundy? Sons of shame and sorrow, will you cheer tomorrow for Burgundy? Onward, onward, swords against the foe! Forward, forward, the lily banners go! Sons of France around us, break the chains that bound us, and to hell with Burgundy!
we reach the finale of a further episode in our story of composers with a song in their heart. The artists recreating the Friml saga were Kenrick Hudson, Frank Holbrook, Keith Hudson, Michael Collins, Kathleen Goodall, Dorothy Caperd, Robert Simmons, and Eric Mitchelson. Your narrator was John Morgan. Orchestra and chorus under the baton of William Flynn. With a Song in My Heart was produced by Alfred Potter and scripted and directed by Jack O'Hagan.